Good afternoon, Canes fans. Welcome into this edition of Canes Insight PM, our afternoon show here on the Canes Insight YouTube channel. Of course, you can also find us across all of your podcast platforms as well. We have Canes Insight Daily that goes live at 9 a.m. every morning. And of course, now I've been doing this afternoon show here. Myself, D Money will join us also at some points of the afternoon show. I know he'll be probably coming on about once a week with me here. And then every day, of course, he hosts Canes Insight Daily with me in the mornings. We had our Mike Ryan show yesterday afternoon as well. I'm really excited about this show. And guys, in the afternoon, I've been bringing on a lot of guests here, and everyone kind of has a different background. We've had Cam Harris, former Canes running back, on, who's now coaching at Carroll City. We've had Helder Valle, Miami-Dade Coach of the Year, 3A to 1A at LaSalle. And now this next guest I'm going to bring on here right at the beginning of the show here is someone who I've been talking to for a while here, and now his guy is on campus. And looks like maybe another one of his guys here who just got offered, Canes are going to be in the mix for, and that is Darren Gammell of DJRS Recruiting Services. Darren, good afternoon, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. So, guys, just introducing you guys here to Darren Gammell. Darren works in the NIL space and recruiting advising space. Ben Congdon is his guy that he's been working with now for a couple years now, right, Darren? And awesome to see your guy Ben here on campus, and looks like he's flourishing early on. So, first of all, welcome into the show. Congratulations to you and your success with a lot of your, not just Ben, but a lot of your guys across college football here now. But let's talk about Ben here at the start, man. Let's talk about his story, kind of when you first started working with him, and kind of where we are today, where you're looking at a guy who is probably a lot more ready than people realize he would be at this point.
Definitely. No, I met Ben like week 3 going into his junior season. I started working with him and his older brother at that time. His older brother ended up going down to a Division I FCS program called Campbell University, which is in Buies Creek, North Carolina. Obviously, at that point, I started working with Ben, kind of trying to get them to utilize some resources in terms of being able to train. And, they have a local weightlifting spot, and then they started traveling up to a spot called the Lineman Lab in Avon, Ohio. They lived about 30 minutes south of Canton. Then basically from there, just kind of started working with getting his film together, making sure that he's doing all the right things, and making sure that he's kind of locked in, right, when it comes to working his tail off and being able to present him as one of the best offensive tackles in the country.
Yeah, and you helped him in that process because, watching his film, which I'll pull up here in a second, and you see the picture with you guys here on signing day. But right away when Miami offered him, I think all the Canes fans and us here on Canes Insight, myself and my co-host Danny, we were like, man, this is a big athlete. It looks like he can move. We love the wrestling background, but you said, hey, there's still a lot of room to grow here. Yeah. So, what was Ben weighing at the time? What was he like physically at that stage? And again, like his focus now being on football, how has his development really gone the last couple of years since you've known him?
Oh, it's been excellent. I mean, the kids, you hear this a little too often, in my opinion, but I think he works harder than the majority of kids his age. I mean, he's on campus right now. He's 17 years old. He hasn't even turned 18 yet. People don't know that.
I didn't realize that, yeah.
He's still got a couple months until he's 18. But his big brother is kind of the reason that he really dug his feet in and went to work. Basically, whenever his brother would go to workouts and stuff like that, or go to camps, his sophomore going into his junior year, he didn't want to at first, right? Like he was just kind of chill, man. He didn't really care too crazy about football. His brother loved football. And then once he started really grinding and working his tail off, and he's like, man, I'm starting to love it too, right? And he is like, well, let's get this thing rolling, right? And so whenever he joined, I want to say he's probably around the 270-ish, 265, 270, weight wise, probably 6'6", 6'7", around that area. And the kid just, really, you could tell that he wanted it. Right. And, from that point, as things kind of progressed, there's some things that we had to critique on his film that we had to fix up as, time continued to went on. And basically, I mean, he developed very, very, very well. So, definitely think that, as time goes on, he's going to continue to just get better. But the thing is, he has to understand that, things are going to get hard. And I'm thankful for his family because they've instilled that into him. He understands.
Yeah, seems like they're good people, man. Seems like they really have been a good support. It seems like, by the way, for a kid, not to cut you off, but where he's coming from, Ohio, a bit different than Miami. The family seemed like they were all in with that whole process.
100%. Yeah. I mean, his grandma and grandpa live about an hour and a half away from him right now. So, but they're from small town Ohio. Tuscarawas is very small. Just to be honest.
Give us Miami people who watching the show an idea of the area a little bit, if you can.
I mean, it's the country, man. Like there's Amish and stuff out there. There's, buggies. Heck, country, like you got farmland and stuff like that. So it's very small, but he's a guy that it didn't really affect him or mess with his mentality, right? And so that's what I think kind of was the ending factor for his success.
The wrestling stuff, man, it's so interesting to me because you work with a lot of linemen as I see on your page, and we'll talk about some of your other guys here in just a bit. But the wrestling stuff seems to be such a common denominator when you look at a lot of the great linemen who end up becoming great linemen. That with Ben, he was a high level wrestler at that size, in by the way, an area that has very strong wrestling, right? So, talk about that background for him a little bit and how he's kind of harnessed that into now what he's doing as a football player.
Yeah. So many people didn't know this, but he sat behind his big brother because at the school you can only have one heavyweight, right? So typically you would battle it out, right? You'd have a comp, a few days before or whatnot of who's going to wrestle at the duel or the meet or so on and so forth. And so he sat behind his big brother for a while, and his big brother decided that, hey, all right, little bro, it's time for you to take it over. I'm going to focus on football. Dylan's senior year, he's like, I'm going to focus on football. I'm going to work my tail off. You go take the torch and do it justice. So his junior year his junior year, he took it over and he really worked his tail off. He ended up being a placer in states. He placed 6th in the state, and we was like very impressed because that's his first year wrestling varsity. So
right. And then you're looking, these are his junior highlights, right? So he was probably, like we were just talking about, probably 370 at most at this stage.
Yeah, he is about 275, probably.
270, yeah. 275. And then now, we're looking at a situation where he's been on campus since, what an opportunity that he was able to get in here a little bit early, right? With the playoffs going on and all that. So, in your conversations with him, how has that transition been? And what was it like for him being able to get a little bit of a taste of what it's going to be like in some of these practices here come springtime?
It was amazing. I think he got to practice for a week. I want to say about a week. He got of live practice and stuff, getting to run some scout team, right? Go against guys like Ruben Bain, and he's like, man, it was so fun. He just said it was so fun to be able to see that stuff, to see how serious it is, how intense it is, and also the prep, right? You're going into the college football national championship, and you're a 17-year-old kid that's coming from this very small town. You're getting these escorts on all these cameras flashing and stuff. Like you could say that it definitely opened his eyes to, okay, this is very serious business, right? And also being able to see all the older guys, right? That's getting ready for the NFL and everything like that. So it's great.
Man, he was playing some. I remember when we first watched this tape, he looked good at defensive line as well, and you saw the flexibility and the bend and all of that. But Let me tell you, Darren, and you know, we've talked about this. I've seen him walking around. They had a lot of the young guys out at the basketball game the other day. He's filling out, man. He looks well over 320, 325 to me. I mean, have you talked to him at all about how the weight room stuff has gone? Because for these freshmen, obviously, it's a big deal for them right now.
Yeah, I mean, he said that he's up to 330. So
Wow.
he came in at, I think they said 6'8", 318. He had 23% body fat, and now he's over 330. And he said it's really lean, right? It's not really fat. So that's one of the biggest things with him is like, I mean, he would flex sometimes. And he'd have a 4th pack, right? Which is like, what the heck? Like, this is kind of insane for a guy that's 300 plus pounds. But I mean, that's kind of just his build, you know, and he's really shaping up to be a monster.
Yeah, no, and I can only imagine. And I remember we interviewed him back when he was committed early on, and his mom kind of popped in the video and said how much food she had to make, because it was, you know, he's got that family can eat, as she was saying. But I can only imagine he gets in the training table and he gets the food that he's supposed to be eating. He's probably living large in that respect right now.
Definitely. Yeah. He said it's been amazing, to say the least. I mean, he's obviously learning everything, right, when it comes to playbooks and learning the day-to-day. But he said there's no place better. He said he made the right choice without a doubt.
So we're very excited about Ben, obviously. I want to talk about another one of your guys here that just got offered by Miami this week, as I pull up the tweet here. And that's Connor Rutherford.
Yes,
as he tweets out here, he says, after a great conversation with Coach Mirabal, I'm blessed and honored to have earned my 20th Division I offer from the University of Miami. And there you go. He's tagging you there in the tweet. So talk to us about Connor, man. I mean, this is, I mean, similarly to how we saw with Ben, 6'6", looks a little bit bigger right now than Ben was maybe at this stage of the process, but 6'6", 300, and I'll pull up his tape here in just a second. But 20 offers, man. So talk to us about Connor Rutherford.
Yeah, so Connor, actually, he's similar in terms of age, right, to Ben. And so he'll early graduate more than likely next year, right? And he'll be 17 when he gets to campus too, right? So he's actually fairly early. He just turned 16 3 months ago. So the kid should be at 2028 realistically, but he's so darn intelligent that the school made him skip a grade, right? So he's young, he's still developing, right? He's got to let his body mature and continue to work his tail off in the weight room and everything like that. But this kid, I mean, he's only been playing football for 4 years. This past year was his 4th year ever playing football. He just got off his first real true off season, right? You know, actually eating eating the weight room, right? Just tearing it up and actually doing O-line specific stuff, right? Like the year before, if you watch the sophomore tape, some people called me crazy working with this kid. Like they laughed in my face, like you're insane, right? But the kid didn't understand football. He didn't understand, you know, techniques. He didn't understand that you could smash this kid's face into the ground and not get in trouble, right? So that was like kind of the big thing that worked out in his favor this year, was the fact that he could show how violent he is, how physical he is, and play some very mean football. That's what we play in Ohio. So
yeah, and it you know, these Midwest, we're always big on the Midwest linemen here on the show, because we're here in South Florida. You get the skill positions in South Florida, a lot of the speed stuff here, and there's some more speed in the Midwest that people want to give it credit for, but the linemen, you're not going to get too many kids down here in South Florida that are 300 pounds, you know, with a year plus left in high school here.
Yeah, 100%.
So, and when I had a couple questions, there's a good question here that I'll bring up in the comments here in just a second, but just in general, Darren, with Miami, I mean, as a guy who's representing a lot of offensive linemen at this point, and other, you know, you have guys other positions as well, but what is it about Miami and the coaching and the development of that position right now that is intriguing to the guys that you are representing?
Well, I mean, the simple fact that Mirabal, I mean, he's very big on relationships, right? So I've known Mirabal for a few years now, and Cristobal, and so they reached out. They followed me a few years ago. We kind of connected with each other, but they never they recruited some of my guys, but it was never serious. Like it was never to the point of offering, right? Try to get some guys down there. Like I had a running back 2 cycles ago, tight end 3 cycles ago. So I took them down there. They offered those guys. Obviously, it was not. It's Coach Woodiel and Coach Merritt who offered those fellows. Yep. But in terms of linemen, it's like, I mean, you're playing for 2 coaches. I mean, you basically have 2 O-line coaches that are like the real deal. They're legit. Cristobal, amazing. Mirabal, amazing. And then on top of the fact that, I mean, they've developed for a very long time. And so that's kind of what is very enticing about those 2 guys and the University of Miami and being a lineman in general. It doesn't matter where you're from. That's why it's very, very enticing.
And it seems like they're doing real evaluations. Like it obviously Ben was Ben, and now you look here at Connor, and they had offers, but I think Miami still is coming in relatively early and came in relatively early. So I mean, if a kid from the Midwest like that gets a call from that 305 number, it probably, obviously Ohio State is a powerhouse there, but it started, I think, means something when you see that Miami call come through again.
Without a doubt, I'd agree with that.
Especially, I mean, look, and I would like your perspective on this, being a guy who's in the Midwest there, and Ohio State obviously is Ohio State, and this is a Miami show, so Miami fans aren't going to like Ohio State.
Yeah.
But like, do you think that a team like Miami can now, with being a consistent, you expect them to be in this race now for the playoffs every single year, and expect them to be one of those 4 to 8 teams every year? Do you think it's a program that can start to pick? I'm not saying you're going to get every top kid from the Midwest, but can you pick a guy here and there consistently, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about fit, right? I mean, these guys have to see it as a fit first. But I was just telling this to a couple of clients of mine, like, if Mirabal calls, that means he did he went through all the boxes, right? That means he did the background checks. He watched his tape. He got cut ups, right? He didn't watch all the highlight, right? He actually had it broken down and watched the good and the bad, right? To see what exactly the player is, right? And so, like, I think that it depends on the person, right? I think it's very, very likely could happen. I mean, heck, look, they went and got Cantwell and Congdon this past year. I mean, it's more. It can happen more times than people think.
A couple more things here before I let you go. I know you got to hop off here in a couple minutes. You've been awesome here, Darren. Question here from one of our viewers, Canes Cats Heat 305. He says, question to Darren: when it comes to your prospects, what are you advising them on the current landscape of high school recruiting and the portal? And what are you telling them about playing time, development, especially an offensive line, right? Because that's not a position where guys can always come in and be the guy right away. So if you could kind of speak to this question a little.
Definitely. No, definitely. I would say that depth chart, right? That's one of the biggest things. You have to look at the depth chart at the end of the day. You have to see what guys are coming, what guys are going, who they're bringing in, how many guys they're coming every year from the portal, right? And that's a big thing for us. With the current landscape, like, I think it is kind of misperceived. Like, like Miami, for instance, right? Like, Mirabal's not taking that many guys from the portal unless he sees a legitimate, right. He thinks that they can actually help the room, right? So, like, I've had guys in the past where I've sent them to him, right? Like, hey, what do you think of this guy? And that's why I like our relationship, because we are very mutually honest with each other. And if he doesn't see them making an impact or being a guy, he's just like, Darren, listen, I don't think this guy is better than, the guys we have in our room or the incoming freshmen, and leave it at that, right? But then, when it comes to terms of, getting, guys, some guys don't want to wait, right? There are some guys that don't want to wait. So, and there are other guys who are willing to understand that they are developmental guys. So that's definitely where I'm at. It comes to the point of my job when it comes to the recruiting side of things, helping high school recruits, is I'm never going to pick where they go, right? I'm never going to tell them where they should go. It's on them. My job is to basically get them the opportunities to pick from.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's all you can do, right? It's just, hey, if you're a Miami fan, you have to feel pretty good right now about the product that they're putting out there for these recruits, right? That's,
Definitely.
I think, for the longest time, Canes fans knew there was a lot of talent that and on the team and all that, and they just wanted to see things come to fruition. Another question here from Canes Cat C305, he's asking about offers, this time of year. Are you kind of advising your guys, hey, if you like this school now, you should probably commit because they offered you, and then if something happens during the season, something happens. But
Definitely.
that's kind of, I guess, what he's asking, because you understand
Yeah.
how it works with these committable, non-committable offers.
Yeah.
So just walk us through that right now, and then I'll let
Okay.
you go.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it depends on the age, right? The grade of the kid, right? So, for instance, the 2027s, they're rising seniors, right? So, the majority of the offers you're seeing now, unless it's like, a buddy that knows a buddy, and that's the type of thing that some guys are doing these days. But like for majority of 27s right now, you're seeing committable offers, right?
Yeah.
Because they're trying to get their class rolling. They've already went through their top, however many guys. They see how many guys that they think they can get. They see guys who have made ridiculous, like Connor, right? He made a ridiculous jump from his sophomore to his junior year. That's something, I'm brutally honest, some coaches did not expect, right?
Yeah.
And now you're seeing guys in 27 class that are going to get offers that are real, that are committed. What they can say, hey, okay, for instance, like Ben, right? Miami was his 9th offer overall, and he went down there, made a very early commitment. I didn't advise anything when it came to terms of commitment. I was like, you and your family will know, right? Like when it's time. And it was a gut feeling. We was down there March 3rd, I believe it was. And Ben looked at me at practice. He's like, Darren, I think I'm going to commit. I was like, really? And he didn't tell his mom or dad yet. And so I immediately go over to his mom and dad, like, hey, I think he's about to commit. And they're like, sweet, like we're gonna support him. I'm like, okay, good deal. Let's get it.
Listen, it was March. It was March. I don't think you, mom or dad or anyone was probably too concerned with the weather. That's for sure.
No, I was gonna sunburn.
I'm sure mom and dad were like, sign me up.
Yep, definitely. So yeah, and then obviously the 28s, 29s, and I think there are some 2030s that are getting offers, but obviously those are all, it's dependent on the person, right? Like if the coach really loves them, then he's like, yeah, it's a committable offer, man. But you know how it works with these guys nowadays. Like it's hard to take a commitment legitimately, unless you're a guy that has morals and values, right? And that's something I really I sit myself there for, because I mean, heck, I had Ben commit very early. He stuck it through Alabama push, Ohio State push, and then I had another O lineman that was a top 20 tackle named Adam Guthrie, who Mirabal also offered, and he committed to Clemson fairly early as well, and he weathered the storm, and he signed with Clemson. So
yeah, I remember we talked about Adam Guthrie too.
yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Listen, you're building a nice stable of linemen, man. That's
yes,
you got a good thing going. Darren, appreciate your time today. We'll definitely have you back on. Really excited about your guy, Ben. We'll be following Connor, and I know you have a bunch of other guys, so we'll get you back on here. Again, thank you so much for your time today, man.
Thank you, guys. I just want to say appreciate you bringing me on here, man. Also want to give a shout out to Carte Ligon. He's a 2028 running back here in Ohio. They've already Miami's offered him. He's got 20 offers or something like that as a sophomore. Kid's really legit. He's going to be the best back in the country. So mark my words.
We'll have you back on and talk about him, Carte Ligon. Thank you, Darren. Awesome
Thank
stuff
you, guys.
from you.
Hey, have a great day, you guys.
Awesome stuff there, man, from Darren Gammell. And I'm telling you guys, man, these are the sort of different interviews that I really love to bring on, because it's a bit different, right? There's so many different people involved now in this recruiting world that there's a lot of different people to tap into and a lot of different people with knowledge. He was down here during Ben's recruiting process. He saw it up close and personal for the last couple years, and now he's got someone else in this Connor Rutherford, and he's going to continue. I mean, this guy Darren Gammell's working with a lot of big time linemen in this process, and yeah, bagging up says there's the different perspectives, man. You have coaches, you have these NIL advisors, managers, agents. You have high school coaches, the old school way. So there's just so many different people here that can give you a different eye on things. And I thought that was really insightful. Few things that stood out. And I posted this on the Discord the other day. Ben Congdon is weighing 330 pounds right now. Came in here at like 318, which, by the way, that he had put on like 15 pounds from the time his season started to like after the season. So put on good weight during his season. The fact that he's not wrestling, he doesn't have to cut weight, obviously, is helping. But you're talking about a guy who's 330 and moving really, really well compared to, and he's always been a good mover, but in those videos that we were seeing from his junior year was weighing 270, 275 right there. He's a monster, man. And yeah, bagging up says complete monster. No, to me, guys, Ben Congdon is going to be one of the crown jewels of this class. Kyle says he's starting out playing left tackle and Cantwell right tackle. I don't know, man. They do so much cross training with these young linemen that you're probably going to see both of those guys at both spots, maybe even some guard. So remember, we saw what happened with Sampson. It took him 3 years now to get to the position he's at, where he's comfortable at guard and was a really good player for Miami last year. But he was moving as a guy who was one of the top tackles in the country. It took him a few years to really get things going, and now he's a guard, right? So we'll see what happens there. I think that Congdon can play either tackle spot. Cantwell right now, I would say probably right tackle, but I think Congdon's going to be more ready than people realize. Nick West says seems like dude can get some burn at guard. Yeah, that's the other thing, is that like guard is not out of the equation. We're talking about 330 already at this point, and I'm telling you guys, like, not only did I see him at the basketball game, but I've seen him up close in the last couple weeks here. He's got tree trunks for legs. He does not look like a freshman. Phenomenal evaluation by Mirrorball. Evaluation by Mirrorball. So pumped up about him. If you guys are just joining here, had his NIL advisor and recruiting advisor, Darren Gammell, on with me here, and he pretty much walked us through the beginning of his recruitment to now, how he's adjusted. He's got some other linemen now that Miami's recruiting, in Connor Rutherford. And the Canes have the best pitch in terms of offensive line right now in the country. And I think, by the way, now with what's about to happen with Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor, the defensive line recruiting pitch is about to be as strong as the offensive line one. So this is the fruits of winning. This is the fruits of the labor, and this is what happens when you start to put some real things up on the board in terms of the NFL draft. Nick West says 3 freshman offensive linemen playing this year. Let's see. I think Cantwell or Congdon will start, one of those two. What else do we got playing this year? I think both Cantwell and Congdon will play. And then who's the other one that we're talking about? Off the top of my head, who am I missing? Fill me in, someone. But I definitely see those two playing. Canes Cats Heat 305 asking, how many offensive linemen do you think we take this cycle? I would say 4 to 5. 4 to 5. Joel Irvin, Nick West is saying, as the other one. Yeah, he could. I mean, he could. I want to see him get. He had a meniscus surgery that him and Jamal Merriweather both had meniscus injuries here that got cleaned up. So we'll see them hopefully at full strength by the time spring practice starts here in late March. But I'm going to say right now, Congdon and Cantwell are maybe a little bit ahead of Irvin. And Canes Cats Heat 305 says the way that Deep Money hypes up. I'm fully a believer in Joel Irvin, but these other guys have been working out at least right now. And that to me doesn't put him behind the 8 ball, but I'm already getting rave reviews about Congdon. Cantwell already practiced, for 3 weeks with this team during the playoff run and got his feet wet. So I just think that it's so early. So again, it's hard to say like, well, since these guys have practiced, it makes them better than Irvin. But I've heard it already. So until I hear it on Irvin, because he hasn't been healthy, I'm going to say those two right now have a decent chance of playing. So yeah. So guys, wanted to again talk about my friends at Chill Zone AC. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling cooled down after this long season here. for the Canes, and now we're getting into springtime. It was cold, right? What was that all about? A lot of people found out they needed heating systems in their house, but we're getting to that time of year where it's getting hot again, and you need those ACs running as good as can be. Chill Zone Air Conditioning. Visit chillzoneac.com. And guys, servicing Tampa down here, all the way down to South Florida. Your comfort isn't just a temperature setting, it's a promise. Facing an AC issue, figuring out if it's a fix or a replacement is best can be a struggle. With our skilled touch and expert knowledge, we manage your AC needs, ensuring your space remains a haven of relief through every season. Get a free quote today, chillzoneac.com. Installation, repair, maintenance, choosing the right AC system for you. The selection process is made easy with Chill Zone Air Conditioning. Preventative maintenance is made easy. You get wholesale prices, complete AC solutions. Shout out to Melissa and the team at Chill Zone Air Conditioning. Really appreciate their support. Call them today at 786-378-2778. Again, 786-378-2778. Chill Zone Air Conditioning. So great stuff there in the beginning of the show here with the Ben Congdon conversation, Connor Rutherford, the other new offensive line offer. And I wanted to kind of close things out here and do the second half of the show here with a bit of a quarterback discussion and a new offer, right? And I'll get to some of these comments here. Appreciate everyone who's watching with me live as I hold it down here on CanesInSight PM, the 3-time a week afternoon show here on CanesInSight. So an interesting story here from yesterday as new offer at the quarterback position. Israel Abrams, who says that after a great conversation with Coach Dawson, he is excited to be offered by the Canes. I like this old school logo he used here, man. This is like mid 2000s. So I don't know what he searched here to bring that one up, but love the logo here used by Israel Abrams. And look, this is a guy from Montini Catholic in Arlington Heights, Illinois. 2027 class, 6'4", 187, top 25 player in the country on 247. 247 has him as the number 2 quarterback in the country, number 1 player in the state of Illinois. The composite has him as the number 5 quarterback in the country. So you're looking at a top 50 national player here, pretty much top 5 quarterback in the country in Israel Abrams. And you know, I'm going to pull up his highlights here real quick. As I play them, I'm going to kind of bring you through the story about him and see where does he stack up here in the discussion for the quarterback position for Miami. And this story is from Rivals here from yesterday, and it says that that he's beginning to hone in on a select number of programs, and he's got some official dates set, but that on Wednesday, Miami entered the picture with their offer. His recruitment has taken some turns, but it's, you know, especially because it looked like he was going to go to Iowa State. Then Matt Campbell took the Penn State job. They're still in the mix. The predictions right now have him headed to Auburn with Alex Galesh. Florida State, Purdue, Tennessee, Kentucky are the other schools, which I got to say, that's a weird top 5. Auburn, Florida State, Purdue, Tennessee, and Kentucky is a strange top 5 for a top 5 quarterback in the country. I mean, Florida State, I don't need to go in on them to kind of understand what you're looking at with them. Purdue, I don't think anyone's getting excited about them. Tennessee, I understand that one. Kentucky, Will Stein is there now, and he's a quarterback guy. He's an offense guy. I kind of understand it, but it's still until proven that it's done there. I don't know how attractive that is to me if I'm a top recruit. So Miami comes in here, and he put up big numbers, over 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns. We see his arm here. We see some of the athleticism. Canes Cats Heat 305 says it's a smart top 5, Pete, playing time. Why would you ride the bench? Look, I'm always with that philosophy. I've been saying that for a while. If you're a top QB, go somewhere you can play. So I shouldn't say it's a bad decision. I think if he goes to one of those places, maybe take Florida State out of the equation there. But if he goes to a Kentucky and is able to start early on, it's not a bad decision. I'm saying it's a weird, you don't see it much. Like, it's one thing to say that should be what probably happens more, but for someone to actually do it, I give the kid credit. Now, Miami, if they show real interest here, and they just offered, so you'd have to think there's some legit interest on Miami's end. If they get themselves into the equation here, they do give themselves an opportunity to really make an impression on him. Now, early playing time, is that being offered? I don't know. You have a couple other young quarterbacks, obviously, there, and Darren Coleman, Luke Nickel, who we expect some. Luke Nickel expecting to take a leap here in the spring, and then Darren Coleman, his talent should be on display. But we understand what Miami probably likes to do in the transfer portal as well. So if he is eyeing early playing time, is that the spot? I don't know. But you see the arm talent. You see some of just the loose playmaking ability, the arm angles, the size, 6'4". It looks like he's a legit 6'4", listed at 187. Wiry athlete, as he gets out of the pocket, throws a nice ball on the run there. So he's got the tools. There's no doubt about that. When it comes to the recruitment, though, we'll see how things shake out. As my hunch right now at this point is, as D-Money said yesterday on the work, there's Will Menzel, Oregon, a lot of steam there. Davin Davidson, Neiman Lawrence. I think maybe, one of those names is Menzel, I think, going to Oregon more likely than not, but then Davidson. Lawrence, you have to see if he's going to reclassify or not. You also have Champ Mons in the Vero Beach area. So to me, one of those guys is more likely to be the quarterback of the class. But again, I look at that top five, and it to me seems like there's a window that's open. So if you see him now in the next couple of weeks schedule a visit to Miami, that signals that he's a legit option. I think what they're doing right now is kind of throwing that seed out there. Dawson looking at it and saying, man, this guy's got real talent. He's got the arm. He's got the athleticism that I'm looking for. And then you look at the other schools that are in the mix, and it's not a battle that you can't win, in my opinion. A lot of Nick West is saying David Davidson. Yeah, we've talked about him a ton. Larry Bluestein says that he feels like he's a cut above a lot of the guys that we were talking about with him yesterday. So if you guys didn't watch the interview with Larry Bluestein, we talked a lot about quarterbacks down here, and Will Menzel was one of them because he's a guy who's originally from South Florida, but he thought Davidson was ahead of those guys in the mix. So yeah, man, this is a good quarterback, good prospect, but we'll see how his recruitment shakes out. I do think that top five is very interesting, very, very interesting. So remains to be seen what happens there, but it's impressive clips. I'm a fan of the talent, no doubt about it. Let me look at some of these comments here. No Smoke says Florida State's a dead program. Good riddance. Definitely is. Will be interesting to see what they do in terms of the hire, because they're still broke. So they're going to fire Norvell this year, and then are they going to go cheap on a coach and say, well, we're going to put money into players? Or are they going to what kind of top level coach is going to want to go coach there, knowing that you don't have the resources to pay the players? That's my concern if I'm a Florida State fan. Really, really a dead program, as you said there. No Smoke, who says he likes the offer from Chicago. I agree, man. I do. Blue Green Street says get to the light this weekend. 4 games. Let's go. No doubt about it, man. So let's see if I make it out there for a game or two this weekend. Nick West says I tune in for the D Money hype. Everyone does, man. We all get excited about certain people. D doesn't see the negative in some situations, which is such a great thing as a human being. And I wish I could do the same. Chris Brown says, with a new 9 games redshirt rule, you might play 4 of them. And talking about the offensive linemen, yeah, I don't think that I don't think that you have any doubt that you use the redshirt rule to your advantage. But if a guy's that good, what's he gonna do? Play 9 games this year and then play 4 more years after that? I guess it could happen, but you don't even think about the red shirt, honestly, at this point as much, because if a guy is a guy, he's gonna play 3-4 years and be out of here. If not, he's probably gonna move on after 2-3 years, 3 years max. But you guys know this clock is like a 2-year clock these days. So yeah, I was bringing up yesterday the scenarios we were talking to Larry Bluestein about using the FIU, FAU as a feeder program for you. In a sense, you pay the NIL, the quarterback, or not just quarterback, but I think quarterback position is just such a no-brainer, where you have a Darren Coleman there, and it's not the same exact offense. I understand there's things to work through, but he is able to go play there and develop and get some snaps and see live reps, because and not every situation is going to be the same. It's almost like, to me, it's a loan situation. And for those of you who watch soccer, I know people get on me because I talk about soccer a lot here, but there's a lot of things in the European soccer transfer market that I think is going to be used. We're seeing these buyouts now. We're seeing, where teams are having to pay for these players when they switch schools. Obviously Miami had to do that now with Darian Mensah. We saw that happen with LSU as well, with someone that they took from Ole Miss, I believe. So that's something that comes from the European transfer market, the soccer market. You're going to see, I think, loans is something that could work very, very well. And there's a lot to sift through there, but it just makes total sense. If Darren Coleman was the quarterback of FIU or FAU this year, would you not want to go to some games and see what the potential future looks like? As TY Sports Picks says, like JUCO or prep school in the 2000s. Yeah. So no doubt about it, man. Nick West says, more soccer talk and less wrestling. I can do that on this show. The wrestling stuff is tough for me to do sometimes, man. So I'm with you on that one. But Mike and D Money, I let them have their fun. Canes Cat T305 says, we do this already in baseball, people. We do not pay the NIL. We just take their best players. Yes, you understand that Miami has been using other schools, even like a Miami-Dade, as feeder programs for a long time to pick players up. But that's a different thing. That's just naturally they're working their way up the system. I'm talking about something different here, where you have, the coaching staffs are kind of on the same page. And the player is getting paid the NIL, right? And I think that's why it's such a good opportunity for someone like a Coleman. It's not, I'm singling him out. It doesn't have to just be a Coleman. It could be a Gerard Pringle, right? I know it's a different position, but there's a lot of different things you could do with this whole development. I think defensive linemen, offensive linemen too, especially guys that you might stash away. Now, I wish you could pull them back mid-season. That's the part about the eligibility that's difficult, because and it happens in soccer too. If your team gets injury trouble and you have someone loaned out, you have the right to pull them back in. So that's one of the things you have to work through, and I'm sure they would challenge that. But yeah, man, this is the future of college football that I just love to discuss. Guys, wanted to talk about Lomelo's Meat Market as we talk about these offensive and defensive linemen and all these 5-star recruits. What are they eating when they come take their visits here, their official visits in the summer and springtime? Lomelo's Meat Market, the best you can get. If you're local, of course, you got the storefront, 9810 South Dixie Highway, about 10 minutes from campus, right by Dayland. You get fresh Wagyu beef, prime beef as well. Any cut that you could imagine. You get the skirt steak, the Denver, the Wagyu ribeye. You see the tomahawk on the grill right there. And if you're not local, you get this delivered fresh to your door, nationwide shipping and then you can use this promo code CIS10 for 10% off your order. Nobody does it better than Lomello's Meat Market. Visit lomellos.com today. And then if you're in store, guys, don't forget to mention CanesInSight. Guys, I'm going to hop off here. Let me take a look at some of these questions here. Canes Cat C says, I'm thinking about doing it with some of these 2027 QBs. I think QBs in general, I think it makes the most sense because they need reps. Only one of them playing, and these linemen too, especially the linemen that maybe aren't physically ready to play at Miami, but FAU would take in a heartbeat. Soulful Spirits says, how would you get players to come here with that approach? That could be a gift and a curse. I mean, look, this isn't something that would only happen in Miami. I would think that this is something that happens across college football. And if you tell a player that you're going to be playing football this year and we're going to be paying you just as much, now, other schools may promise you that they're going to play too, but some of these guys really just want to be getting paid and understanding that they're going to be playing football. And if they feel like they trust the plan that's in front of them, especially with the way the scholarships have expanded to 105, a lot of these guys are being brought in to be developed anyways. So I don't know, man. It's a working idea. So it's better than going to a school and not playing at all. That's for sure. So guys, I'm hopping off here. Appreciate everyone who joined me this afternoon. Remember to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Go Canes.